Hello there, folks. This is Will Hernandez, the Program Director for CQ Asia School of Spiritual Direction Training Program. And what I want to do during the next few minutes is to give you kind of like a quick overview of what the whole program entails, particularly for the upcoming Cohort 2. Um, so, regular applications end in July 31st this year, 2026, followed by from mid September to mid December, we have like about 3 months of OR or opening residency preparations, which is largely asynchronous, except for two Zoom meetings. You're practically on your own preparing for reading some stuff in advance and viewing some videos and stuff like that. And then some series of orientations as well as prayer workshop and all that. And then in mid January, that's when we officially start with a 6 day opening residency in a retreat setting. That will be followed by the online course modules, which will run from mid February 2027 until the end of the following year, end of February 2028. And then it will be capped by an 8 day closing residency in mid March. Okay, so here's the sort of like a visual overview of the program. You can look at it in terms of quarters. And we have divided the program to 4 quarters, not necessarily and technically or literally, uh, you know, quarterly calendar. But so, yeah, uh, as you well know, before starting the online course module, you all fulfill the two prerequisites: soul companioning and BIT, or Basic Intro Trilogy. Okay, so first quarter, all the quarters actually are consisting of what we call twin modules. So, like for the first quarter, we have as its focus contemplative prayer, or CP. CP1 is a way of seeing, and then CP2 is a way of listening. And in between these two CP modules, there is what we call a 2 week interterm, interim break. Okay, but between two quarters, between two quarters, we have what we call another 2 week interterm break. So let's look at the second quarter, which will be focused mainly on prayerful discernment, or PD. PD1, prayerful discernment 1, is about foundations of discernment. And then PD2 is about practices, which are decidedly Ignatian in its focus. Okay. And then when we go to the third quarter, again, there's a 2 week interterm break. The third quarter starts with SDS, or Spiritual Direction Supervision, followed by contemplative theological reflection. And then the quarter finale will kick off with what we call the GSG, or Group Spiritual Guidance. And the culminating module would be the critical life stages on our faith journey. And as you well know, all of these online modules are bracketed by what we call the OR and the CR, the 6 day opening residency and an 8 day closing residency. Okay. And one particular distinctive of our program is the fact that we are heavy on praxis. And in fact, the whole practicum starts right from the very beginning. We call that the first 2 quarters informal practicum, followed by the more formal um, practicum. And in between, we have what we call the pre practicum. And as I already alluded to, we are unapologetically praxis driven, which means we do immerse people into what we call both online as well as offline praxis. Now, praxis literally is not the same as practice because praxis means lived out truth or truth in action. And we're committed to really making sure that you practice what we teach you all throughout. Okay, so that's kind of like an ongoing thing. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in between these quarters, right in the middle is the pre-practicum, and the module, the 1 week module that signals the pre-practicum is what we call the ISD, or the individual spiritual direction, where you will be introduced to some role plays. You will practice the contemplative, evocative stance and approach. And this will be followed by 4 rounds of what we call real play dyads. Real play because you're not simulating something, you're actually directing a partner. That's why you call it dyads. And so there'll be 4 rounds of that. The final 2 rounds will be with your designated mentoring group. So you will be supervised and given feedback by not just your mentors, but by your mentoring group before you launch into what we call the official formal practicum, which involves you meeting with your own spiritual director on a monthly basis. But now you're starting to direct a minimum of 2 people per month, your own directees, as well as submitting yourself to the supervision of your chosen supervisor on a monthly basis for the next 6 months. The seventh month actually is a debriefing consultation month in terms of supervision right before the closing residency. Okay, so there you have it, kind of like a sweeping overview of what the program constitutes. Now, the one thing that I'd like to also underscore is the fact that this whole idea of spiritual companioning is not just about a module that we introduce to you, but it's something that we immerse you throughout the entire process. By that I mean you are actually all throughout being companioned by your mentors. You're being companioned by your facilitators, course facilitators. You are also being companioned by your chosen supervisor on a monthly basis. But most of all, you are actually involved in companioning one another through the forums, through engaging with and interacting with one another in the online course modality, but also through most of the online praxis. Okay. The other thing that I'd like to introduce to you is the concept of mentoring, which, by the way, is the backbone or the skeleton of the whole entire program. What makes it really work is that you are a part of a small mentoring group of 4 or 5, usually 4, and you journey with your mentoring group from beginning to the end. And one of the tools that we employ through our mentoring group is a very unique assessment discernment tool called the Appreciative Inventory, or AI, not artificial intelligence, because we've already used AI way before that has become a very popular term these days. Okay, so the every quarter, basically, you will be really spending a good amount of time reflecting about your progress in the program. You're also reflecting and discerning your own call as a spiritual director. And every quarter, you're meeting with your mentoring group to co discern with you, to validate, affirm, challenge your own sense of calling. this is really one of the highlights of the program. So every quarter, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and of course, the last final quarter, which will be capped by the exit interview right before the graduation ceremony during the closing residency. So, once again, there you have it. My hope is that that has given you a real good, clear handle and what you have committed yourself to and what you will be journeying into for the next 18 months. So, yeah, my best wishes to all of you as you embark on this journey together.